Going to do a video today to show how to fit one of these carbon fibre steering wheels on a Range Rover Sport. It obviously applies to any steering wheel you're going to change on the Range Rover Sport. We have done a couple videos before, but we just thought we'd do another one today. We've done a few of these now and hopefully we're a little slicker. So we think the silver carbon matches quite nicely to the silver you've got on the air vents. You've got them there on your Speedo. On the door you've got these silver bits, so we think the silver carbon's quite a nice look. And obviously some steering wheels have got pretty badly worn. You can see this one on this car is pretty, it's gone all scaly and that. Okay, so let's get on with the actual mechanics of the job. So the first job you need to do is to remove the earth terminal on your battery. So you need a 13mm socket. You need to remove the tray over the battery here. We've done that already. Unclip the tray. Right, remove that. Loosen that nut at the top. Wiggle that off. Now it's quite important that you put that somewhere out the way where it's not going to find its way and spring back onto that, because yeah, you're going to be removing the airbag and you don't want to be reactivating the system with the airbag. So you need to leave that for 5 minutes, go and have a cup of tea and come back. Okay, and then you need to move round onto the inside. So the 5 minutes is just to let all the capacitance in the circuit dissipate. That's the word I was looking of. Okay, so to remove the airbag on the Range Rover Sport, you need an airbag tool, which has got this little hook at the end. Okay, and then what you need to do is go into the side. You'll see, you can just see there, a little square slot there, and you need to put it in. Thank you, Tom. And we need to put it in with the hook facing towards you. So you put it in and there's like a little guide in there. Right, now I'm going to pass to you, Tom. There's a little guide in there and you've got to push it in, and you will feel at the back it will get onto, and there's a spring. I'll show you the spring, and you need to pull it outwards. Now you might not, sometimes they do pop forward. Actually that has popped forward. You can see here it's popped forward. Sometimes they don't, but you have released it. You have to do the other side before you get any movement. So again, it's exactly the same process on the other side. Get it in and then give it a pull. Right, and you can see that's released that. Okay, so put the tool down. Right, obviously now you are dealing with an airbag, so you do need to be careful with it, so just be gentle with it. So these are the springs here that you're pulling, and if I just simulate what you're doing, you're putting that in there and then you're pulling that spring which releases it from the clips. Okay, so that's what we're doing there. Now the next thing to do is we're going to remove the earth connector. Now there is a little tab you have to press at the top of that connector there that slides that up. I don't know if you can see that there. You just got to press down on that little tab there. Okay, then we've got the two airbag connectors. Now these are foolproof in as much as you can't get these on the wrong one, but you can see here we've got the black is on the green and the brown is on the red. Why they haven't coloured them the same, I'm not sure, but you've got to squeeze these two ears in, whoop, at the side, and then just pull the connector upwards. Again, squeeze the two ears, pull the connector upwards, and then unroute the cables from these two guides at the top. Okay, put the airbag in a safe place. Do not leave it around near children. Don't drop it or throw it anywhere. Okay, right. Okay, moving on. Right, what do we need to do? Right, we need to unplug this rear connector here. Right, let me just show you that. Okay, so what we've got here on this one, we've got a little spring tab at the top that we have to pull out to release that from the slip ring there. Okay, now we're all ready to undo the centre nut. The centre nut is 16mm. Now, one thing you've got to do here, you've got a couple of options. You can either get your steering wheel straight, because the steering wheel's on a spline. So once you take it off, you need to make sure you get it back in the same location. The other option you can do is you can put it on the steering log, and you can put a bit of masking tape along the rear cowling like so, and you can draw a line. I'll just do this quickly to show you. Okay, and you can draw a line so that you can see the angle. Now this isn't working for me because we've we got a bit of a shiny dash, but you could see that that's one way of doing it. We're going to go with the old technique, which is get everything straight and just put everything back on straight, okay? Right, so 16mm socket, we have cheated and loosened this one already. These can be quite tight, and you will need to hold the wheel. Ideally, if you can get someone else to help you if it's really tight. If it goes onto the steering lock, don't put too much strain on the steering lock. Try and take some of the strain. Okay, and then you can remove the bolt. It's a flanged bolt with a washer. There we go. Let's have a go at doing this. Okay, so that's the bolt. Remove that. Put that to one side. Okay, now if you look in there, you can see there is a mark on the steering column and there is a mark on the top of the wheel as well. So there are alignment marks to align them up, but it's always best to get it straight or have another plan so that you can just double check it's the same as when you took it off. Okay, thank you, Tom. Right, so now it's a question of pulling the steering wheel towards you. Okay, so as you move it, the airbag wires will disappear back through the hole there, but the steering wheel control wires will stay with the wheel. So let's try and get this right. There we go. Okay, so you can see here, now this is the slip ring which rotates. You really want to keep that in the same position at the top, ready for putting the new steering wheel on. So what we'll do now is we'll strip down the steering wheel, swap it over. We'll try and do all this in one cut so that you can see what's happening. So we now need to swap these controls over onto this steering wheel, okay? So if we flip this over, there are 4 Torx T20 screws. So the Torx screws, for those that don't know, it's like an Allen key, but it's a little more sort of spiky at the ends. So we've got 4 screws. I want to just zoom in on the screw there, Tom. They're all the same. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And now this will release the rear cowling. And again, you've got no compatibility issues by doing it this way, because the steering wheel comes bare. You retain your own airbag, your own switches, everything else. So that's those 4 off. Right, and this pops off. Sometimes they can be a little bit tight, so we can release that. And then the switches, okay, these switches are held in with these plastic clips here, but they normally, if you push them into the middle, okay, they do come out. Okay, so that's the steering wheel. Okay, that's the old one. Right, put that to one side, and then we've got to build up the new one. Okay, so let's see if we can get this right. Okay, so that's the back. Okay, that's the top. Let me see if we can do this this way round here. Bring these up through here. Okay, that's that one. Oh, that's that one. Okay, and then got to locate the cowling. Okay, now I'm sorry, it's a bit while I wrestle it here. Right, bear with me while I. Okay, now what you've got here is you've got these little plastic tabs in this corner here, okay, that locate into the steering wheel and locate the cowling, okay, and then the switches, okay, we're going to plug this end of the switch packs into those corners there, okay, and then they will locate and click into place. Right. And again, this is all held together with the screws. I'm trying to do it in a bit of a hurry here. I'm nearly there. Okay. Right, there we go. So that's all gripped together, and then we're going to put the screws back in, which will sandwich the rear cowling, or sandwich the steering wheel, should I say, between the rear cowling and those front switch pack assemblies. Okay, so that's pulling it all together then. Okay. So again, let's just locate him in. Make sure it fits in alongside there. Make sure they're clipped in. Okay, so there we've got it. We've got all the steering wheel reassembled and we're ready to go and refit that back in the cup. Okay, so you can see in the middle, we didn't look at it before, but you've got like these multi-splines there that locate. So if we feed the two airbag wires back through, okay, making sure, okay, and give those a little pull, yeah. Now what you will see is, if we look from the front, there's a little pin that comes in the bottom which is part of the slip ring, so it moves with the slip ring. You can see that moving, but when you put it on, it will, if you've got it all right, that will come through there, and then your two marks should line up and your steering wheel should be nominally straight. If you zoom back a bit, Tom, I think we're nominally straight there, so we're happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to put the bolt in first, just so that that doesn't move or slip. Okay. Okay, and you want to do this up fairly tight, because you don't want your steering wheel coming loose. Okay. Again, if it goes onto the steering lock, that's not a problem, but don't overload your steering lock. Right, the next thing we need to do is connect this connector here, which is the connector for the steering wheel controls, which lines up, and when we push it in, it should click in. Okay, and that clicks into place. You can give it a little pull just to check he's well located. So that's the steering wheel. We're just left with the three connectors for the airbag to go back on. Okay, so now we need to carefully retrieve the airbag. Okay, now I'm going to connect the earth. Okay, first. Okay, so actually I'm not going to connect the earth first. I'm going to connect the brown. So the brown went on to the purple. Okay, and it should click in. So, yep, and the black went on to the green. Right, and then the wires should go up through these little catches at the top here, these cable guides, so that when we put it back in, they don't get stuck. And then the earth slips back over the pin. Okay, like so. So check we've got all the connections. We've got the steering wheel, switches, the airbag, and then we reposition this. So you get it into place, and then you've got to give it a fairly firm push, and it'll click in on both sides. Hold on. Right, here we go. Okay, so that's clicked back into place, and that's the job done. And as you can see there, that matches pretty nicely. We've got a sports grip, perforated soft Napa leather steering wheel, and we think that's a nice upgrade.